Hey Matt, how are you? Hey people. This is, for those who don't know Leamington Spa as well as someone like myself, is Binswood Hall. Hi Matt. Matt, you should know this is round the corner. Binswood Hall is gorgeous. This used to be a school and it's been converted into what can only be known as Millionaire Retirement Village. This is where, if you're really rich, this is where you retire. Because in there are retired people who basically don't want to live dribbling into their porridge. They want to go here with a big community of people in there with a pool and a gym and a networking group. So tonight I'm doing 4 networking from in there. That's my little group. So I like to say it's the poshest 4N ever. Well, that's because it's my own, I'm biased, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous venue. So that's where I'm going to be. Anyway, just had a thought in the car as usual. Hey everybody, I've got this into this thing now, doing scopes in the car. You've ever noticed when you're driving, you always come up with these great ideas. This week's blog, if you haven't already seen it, is about the Mr. Men. And this blog is about what you can learn from the Mr. Men about social media. Because I realised, and as many as you probably have, that actually the Mr. Men, there's some fantastic stories in those books that you can put into all types of life, all things in life. Hey Amanda, how are you? I'm outside Binswood Hall. I'm outside where you're going to be doing the tweet up. Anyway, this blog's getting a lot of attention. But when I teach people, when I train people to use blogging for their business, they and I sometimes get fixated on website traffic and getting high up on Google because it's content, and content is king, and we're all told you've got to have great content on your website. So you can be forgiven for thinking that traffic to your blog or your website and getting higher up in Google is the only thing that you'll get from blogging. But this week's blog has not had as many people go to it as normal. It's not been one of the big peaks in my traffic, but it's still got me lots of stuff. This morning, for example, I went to a networking event and there was only a few people there, and someone came right up to me and said, "I love your blog about the Mr. Men, by the way. I really like that. I didn't know there was a Mr. Nobody." And I started talking to people about this blog at a networking event. I thought, that's interesting. That's not going to affect my online stats. Then I've had more conversations on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and a couple on Pinterest than I've had for any other blog, which is quite unusual. But actually, when you think about it, what you want from a blog, what you want from any online marketing, is attention to you and your brand. You want people to associate with it. You want people to think, wow, I like that, and I'm going to communicate with that person. That's actually what you want. Yeah? Yes, Neil. Tap away, Neil. That's what you want. What you want from any online marketing is something to happen. Snickers or Mars, I'm off chocolate, can't have it. What you really want from it is something to happen, right? You want someone to buy your stuff ultimately, but maybe you just want them to communicate with you. Getting thousands and thousands of visits to your blog is brilliant. Trust me, I love watching stats. Ask Jo, she's on the scope now. Jo, tap some hearts if you know that I'm a geek with my stats, right? Still no coffee, Neil, no coffee. Stats are great. But at the end of the day, you need something to happen. You need someone to come to your business. You need someone to buy from you. You need someone to fall in love with what you do, right? I blog about social media, not spaghetti. I blog about social media, marketing, websites, all the online stuff that I do. I also blog for other clients about all sorts of random stuff too, which is good fun. But what you want is something to happen, right? So create blogs. I've been blogging in, I can't say that I've done stats, but things are picking up. Cool. Don't worry about the stats, Neil. Worry about what happens because of it, right? And blogs are free, yeah. If you could use a blog like WordPress, it's free. What you need to do is not copy everybody else. Just like with any marketing, you need to make sure that you affect people. And this week's blog, actually, I was talking about the Mr. Men and how you can learn from them. Mr. Tickle. You can learn from Mr. Tickle. What you need to do is tickle everybody. And by that I mean you need to interrupt people. You're not rubbish at writing, Amanda, you just don't do enough of it. Do more of it, practice at it. Mr. Tickle interrupts everybody's day. And that's what you need to do, because it's so busy out there, right? Everyone's tweeting, everyone's Facebooking, everyone's on Pinterest, right? You need to be different. Mr. Tickle is brilliant at interrupting people's day, and that's kind of what you need to do. So don't blog about stuff that people have already blogged about. Don't come up with subjects. You think, oh, someone did that last week and that's really, really good, and copy it. If you were going to create a drink now, you would not have a red and white branding and call it Coca-Cola. Because A, you couldn't, and B, someone's already done it and you're never going to beat them. Do something totally different. This blog I read this week, thanks. The Mr. Men blog has got loads of interaction. This is my second Periscope about the blog. It's ridiculous. People like it, but it hasn't had masses of traffic to my website. But you've never blogged. Trust me, go to wordpress.com now, sign up, think of something, blog about this tree. Right? Start. The best thing you can do is start. Don't wait. Don't wait till it's too perfect, because the more you do it, the better you get. It's a bit like running or riding a bike, okay? But this Mr. Men blog has had more interaction, right? Enthusiasm, that's what I'm all about with blogging. I love it. It's absolutely awesome. It's had more interaction, it's had more conversations, it's had better stuff. It's actually had humans talk to me about it. That's what we ultimately need, okay? Neil, you were so going to blog about a tree. Well, that's fine. That's fine. For instance, here's a great example. So tomorrow I'm going to be talking at an event about social media, using social media, but in particularly Twitter for events. So I'm going to be using this example of how to go to an expo and using Twitter for it, right? So I'm going to go to this event tomorrow. I'm going to share my knowledge to, I think there's about 60 people booked on, right? And I'm going to tell those 60 people. But then I'm going to go home, I'm going to blog about it, because all that stuff's already written somewhere for me to have notes just in case I you know, my mind goes. I can just turn that into a blog piece. It's actually really useful content. So I'll put it onto my blog. There's bound to be things that you're doing this week, today, tomorrow, next week, that you're doing in the privacy of your own home or office, right? You've just signed up to WordPress. Good, get on with it. If you need any help, just tweet me at Social Media Todd. I love WordPress. There's some good blogs on our website too. How do you get people to see your blog? You must share it. That's the thing. As I always say to people, a blog is like a tree falling over in the woods. If no one's there to hear it, does it make a noise, right? After you've published your blog, you must share it on all your social media, and that means you need to have really good social media. So it's not going to just float on its own. Full-time blogger, awesome. You must blog a lot. I blog a lot, but not as much as you must blog. Although I don't get paid for it, so you could argue I'm a full-time blogger. So it's not all about stats. Don't get fixated on stats. And you need people to read your blog, absolutely, okay? you need the stats, you need people to read it, but you also need something to happen to it. So good call to actions on blogs are very important. It sounds really simple, but if you just put on the bottom, please leave me a comment. Like this week's blog about the Mr. Men, I said, who was your favourite Mr. Man? Not many people have commented, to be honest, but they've told me in real life. I don't really care if they tell me in real life or not. It's still something happening. It's still someone reading content I put online and then having a conversation with me, okay? And I got tired of promoting my blog where people don't see it if you don't. Absolutely. Do you know what? If you're getting tired of promoting your blog, you're doing it about the right time. 20-30 times on Twitter, absolutely fine. Guest posts is good too. Make sure though guest posts are relevant to what you're doing. So let's, for example, say you're the owner of Binswood Hall, where I'm sat outside now. For those of you at Hall, this is where I'm networking tonight. We don't muck around. The business owner at Binswood Hall. You would not have someone guest post on your blog about social media. You would not have someone, plonkers and trolls, right? You would not have people guest blog on your site about Viagra or the latest Audi car, because it's not relevant. You'd have people blog on you about cuisine because they've got a really nice restaurant, maybe health and fitness because they've got a gym, maybe about Leamington Spa because they're in there. So guest blogging is a very useful thing to do, and you should guest blog too on other people's sites, but only if it makes sense to, if it's relevant to what you do. So I guest blog. I've blogged on a website called Social Media Revolve, and they approached me, and I've got so many links through to my site from it that it's well worth doing. But they do social media, so it makes total sense. Did the blogs have to be a motive to buy? I've just missed that one. All good. They have to be valuable, really. Is all the blogs have to do. If you imagine now, the year 2003, and then you imagine when the internet was created back in the 80s, that period of time, think how much content was put online then, because now every week we are doing more than that. So every week that much content is online. If Wikipedia was a book, you'd be able to sit on it. If you were as tall as me, I'm 6 foot, my feet would just touch the floor. There's a lot of content going online, so it must offer value. It must be really good content. It must be unique content, and maybe it must rustle a few feathers. Maybe it must ask questions that have never been asked before. Maybe you'd come up with a blog title like what we can learn from the Mr. Men about social media, because I don't think anyone's ever come up with that before. It's not easy. And for those of you on the scope at the beginning that said, look, I've not tried it, where do I start, how do I get on with it? The best thing to do is just get on with it and do it. There's no wrong or right way. There's blogs about cakes, there's blogs about fairies, there's blogs about things that don't exist, there's blogs about social media. The best thing you can do is start and get used to it and start training your creative brain, really. There's no better time, right? When was the best time to plant a tree? 200 years ago. When was the best time to start a blog? 3 years ago, 2 years ago. The best time to do anything, if you haven't already done it, is right now. So start doing it. Thanks, Pete. Nice to see you, man. Have a nice tea and tea and cake. I can't have either of those in my new diet. God, it sucks to be me right now. That's cool. I'm going to have a glass of water. Just fucking blog. Absolutely, Neil. I've sworn again. I was going to try not to swear then, Neil, and you put the word F on there and I've said it. Well, I'm really, really trying. Neil, how's your blogging going? Because I know you're fairly new to the game and you came and heard me talk at Scotland Treat Up, wasn't it? So I've seen a couple of yours, but you know, it's busy out there, so you don't see them all. No one sees all mine either. But it's good, yeah? Pete's come back. I thought he'd gone. Anyway, I'm going to go inside. You really enjoyed it, Neil? Good. Just keep doing it. If you enjoy it, that's like I say to most people, if you enjoy something, you just keep on doing it. If it's a chore, if it's like the job you hate, if it's like putting the bin out, you know, I don't put the bin out. I hate it, so I'll just leave it, right? I hope I've put you on a good track now. I think that's what I like to do. That's my thing. If you enjoy something, you will do it more. Try and find something you enjoy and blog about that. Really, you shouldn't have to think about what you're going to blog about because it should already be in the front of your mind. So if you're running your own business, you should be passionate about that business and you want to blog about it all the time. If you run your own networking group like I'm about to go and do now, you'd want to blog about that because you're passionate about it. So find your passion, do a lot of it, and just keep doing it. And don't copy everyone else. And don't worry about the stats and the statistics and stuff like that, because if someone says to you, I really liked your blog, you made someone do something, and that's really, really important. And the more of that you do, the better you get. Thanks for all the hearts, everybody. Thanks for all the time. I'm going to go now into the poshest 4N venue ever, and I might scope in there about an hour's time. I'll see you later. Cheers.